Brodes Media.
Six and 0, baby. 6-0. Okay. They made us uncomfortable there for a little bit of time. But just like what happened in Arizona, this team needed a drive. They went 7 minutes and 37 seconds. They relied on their offensive line and their run game. Some crucial third downs. Jalen Hurts using his legs. Jalen Hurts with a QB sneak, which nobody knows how to stop. Kenneth Gainwell had a big third down in there. A.J. Brown got them closer to the end zone before Devontae Smith was left wide open. And there are some things to clean up, no doubt about it. We have to stop, just kind of evaporating for a little bit of time after exploding in the second quarter. But here's the beauty of it. Because you can look around this league and talk about plenty of teams and plenty of good teams that have areas to work on. They're not 6-0. Maybe they're 4-2. Maybe they're 5-1. Maybe they're 3-3. A team that's stuck right now through the first 6 weeks, but then they rattle off 7-8 wins in a row, and they become a juggernaut or a very powerful team as the colder months kind of creep in, right? That stuff happens all the time. The fact that you can go back to the drawing board when you need to fix some issues and you're still undefeated and winning football games, there is something to be said about that, because when it gets tough, you lose Lane Johnson. And it got ugly there with Jack Driscoll. You lose C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who already had a pick on the day, and that looked rough, did it not? That looked really bad as he's going to the sidelines, and he could barely even hold his arm up. It looked like he was holding his wrist, but he still fights back for the fellas. He returns, and not only does he return, which, let's be honest, there's probably some guys that might chalk it up and go to the whole, hey, I'm banged up. I already kind of had my good day at the office. I'll call it quits. He goes back out there and then comes up large with the second interception of the day, which was beautiful. And you saw Brandon Graham out there getting to the quarterback. Things were awesome. But you go back to like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you get the acquisition super late, and now you're throwing him into a position that he hasn't played. It's like, safety. It's not what he was playing. He was playing in the slot. You didn't know how it would work out. And my man has how many interceptions over the last couple of games? It's outrageous what he provides for this team. So, I get it. There's things that are making us sweat. It shouldn't happen. You go up 20-0. There should never be a time where it's a 3-point game the way that it was. Dallas fans are hysterical, though, because they are convincing themselves that they were right there. Yeah, you and everybody else. How come every team is struggling to punch the Eagles back and actually win? You're not as close as you think you are. Don't say that, all you have to do is change to Dak Prescott and that game is automatically a Dallas Cowboys win because look how close it was at one point with Cooper Rush. Shut up. The whole game changes. Everything changes when that's the case. You have no idea what Dak Prescott is, let's be honest, this season. But it is hysterical to me hearing them come up with all these scenarios. Well, all we did was we took too many penalties. Do we have to date back to last year? And I know every year is different for each team, but if you want to bring up all you have to do is clean up some penalties, okay, simple fix. Okay, that's easy? Okay, ask Mike McCarthy how easy that was in the past. Diggs is throwing his helmet. Hell, you got lucky for that stupid block in the block in the back that they picked up the flag. In what world did you watch that happen? Actually huddled together, and then somehow, some way, the end result was we're going to pick that flag up. Now, the Eagles took advantage of some calls. This is the NFL. It goes both ways. But still, you talk about those drives. Bad tackling by the Eagles defense. Really awful. I don't get how it gets that sloppy. I'll go back to it, and I want to ask someone who studies the tape a little bit deeper. Maybe I could ask some people who are with Inside the Birds, Jeff Mosher. They talk to Greg Cosell all the time, and they do some tape breakdown. But I remember speaking to Dave Zangaro, and I've mentioned this to you guys a bunch of times, but he did say earlier in the season that there were times where he thought that the missed tackles and the poor tackling was somewhat reflecting Jonathan Gannon and the way that he has some of these players lined up, which would be putting them in a bad position while, you look at maybe how the other team is getting a head start, full speed. It's like you're asking these guys in an open field because of soft coverage to come up and try and make a tackle. It's obvious the other team is in a better position to do it. So maybe some of these angles and the way that he's playing it is somewhat relating to these issues that we're seeing with the poor tackling. I definitely want to get some more information on that, but knowing that was brought up in the past by someone who covers the team for NBC Sports Philadelphia, maybe there is some truth to it. Maybe not. Maybe it's just that they're bad at their job and they're not wrapping guys up as strong as they should, and it's just their error. I mean, that's very possible. Maybe it's a correlation of both. It's a little bit of both in there. Definitely some question marks there, but still, once again, 6-0. What stinks, though, is when you got some of those turnovers, you settled for field goals. It would have been lovely if you could tack on and score a touchdown and, really make them hurt. So instead of when they went up 14-0, you score, make it 21-0. It's a big difference. Even if you kick that field goal, let's say you get one touchdown, one field goal. Instead of 20-0, it would be, what would that be, 24-0? What really hurt you, though, was the return right before half. That's unacceptable. Did you fall asleep? Did you think it was all over? There's still time left on the clock. It's not over until your ass is back in that locker room, and then you're assessing your second half adjustments, which we do need to acknowledge that there has to be a sharper, quicker adjustment here. It is a young coaching staff, and we talked about that when Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie made the change from Doug Peterson to Jim Schwartz, that there wasn't a lot of veteran presence here. So we do also need to understand that we're kind of walking through those growing pains while being 6-0, which is not an easy thing to do. So we're just kind of looking at it all, right? We're covering everything here. But it does seem at times, you saw it, the Dallas Cowboys today, they made their adjustments. And when Lane Johnson goes down, I mean, at some point, you kind of, it's hard. It's hard. Jack Driscoll is what he is. But it seemed like when they went back to relying on their run game, Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, I thought they used a good mix of the entire run game. Boston Scott during that crucial drive. I loved their early drive, too. 15 plays, 80 yards, 7 minutes and 36 seconds, tick off the clock, and they go up 7-0. Miles Sanders punches it in. I thought he had another really good game. This bye week is extremely important, though, because you can get some bodies back.